Hello, welcome to Natemare Flix. I'm Nate, you're you, and this is the second entry in this series where I look back at that little reboot craze we got in the late 2000s where they took our big three of slashing, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers, and they gave them a little rebirth on the silver screen. So obviously today we're talking about old Freddy Krueger himself, and yeah, let's get to it. This film was directed by Samuel Baker. It stars Jackie Earle Haley, Rooney Mara, and Katie Cassidy. And this one, I'm just going to say it right now. Of the big three reboots, this is my last place. Because this is, to me, the epitome of a cash grab. Say what you will about the other two reboots or remakes, whichever words you want to throw at these. They at least do something, they go for something. I think when you look at that Friday the 13th one, they do some real great homages. They play with expectations, you know, and turn some things on its head. They add some real nice style to create a brutal Jason. I think they hit a lot of the right notes. You look at Rob Zombie's Halloween, there's a whole lot that you could, you know, be like, I don't like that, this is disgusting, this is not what a movie should be, this is not Michael Myers. And you know, you wouldn't be wrong for saying that. But that being said, Rob Zombie came with a clear vision. He did breathe a fresh life into this character. He took it a different direction. He gave some fans something that they really were yearning for, and you know, they were happy to see it go that way. And even if that's not your definition of Michael Myers or Halloween, I would say this. The worst thing you could say about a film is that you are completely indifferent to it, that you don't feel either way about it. You don't love it or hate it. It just didn't draw anything out of you. And for me, that's what this movie does. That's what the 2010 version of Nightmare on Elm Street is. It is just a rehashing of all the big scenes that made the first one such a phenomenon, except they've been really just watered down and made with such lazy execution that they just fall flat. They take some of the best scenes in horror history and relegate them to like C-level fare. I'm talking about scenes with like Tina's death. In this movie, she's played by Katie Cassidy, and for some reason her name is Chris. I don't know, I can't explain that. Rooney Mara is still Nancy. Freddy's still Freddy. A lot of characters are the same, and the other characters are obviously still from the other movie have been changed by name for apparently no reason. But anyway, Chris, Tina, whichever you want to call Katie Cassidy's character, her death in the original is one of the craziest scenes in any horror movie. And in this one, it just doesn't pack the same punch. Ditto for the scene where Nancy is in bed and you know, she's kind of drifting in and out of sleep, and you see Freddy come through the wall. In the original, it was like a 5-cent effect. You know, they just got up some cheap material and then had them press on it and then kind of stretch through, and it looks like somebody coming through the wall, but it looks real. You know, you are in that scene. Your disbelief isn't a threat to the film at any point with that scene. Now in this movie, it's just god-awful, atrocious CGI to where you just have to roll your eyes, especially if you love the original. Now maybe if you were like some 11-year-old who's never seen the original Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe that scene you're like, okay, but that's it. You're not gonna be like, oh my god, this is so cool, this is groundbreaking. It's not. It's just, like I said, it's C-level fare. It's stuff that you can go get from some direct-to-video kind of movie nowadays. And it's just lazy. You can tell they're just relying on the branding here. They're like, yeah, just push out all the stuff they expect. You know, all the stuff everybody loved in the first one. Just do that. I don't care if you do it really quick. Yeah, you know that claw coming out between her legs in the bathtub? We can do that. In the original, there's suspense. The musical cues there. Nancy's slowly drifting out of sleep, that we know something is wrong, and then you see the claw very slowly kind of come up through the water, and it's there. And I'm not even a woman, but the thoughts of being a woman and having those sharp fingers coming up between my legs, it freaks me out. You know, and then Nancy, as she falls asleep, she gets pulled under the water, and all of a sudden this bathtub is turned into like a black ocean that is just like so vast and so deep. It works. It's part of what made that movie so great, but there's a certain level of passion in that filmmaking that just isn't there in this movie. They don't even have that part in this bathtub scene. They just give you a real quick, whoop, yep, there was a glove in the bathtub, all right, we got that out of the way. Check, on to the next one. And that's what it is. That's what this movie is. It doesn't work, and it is a shame because they have some talent here. Like Rooney Mara, I know she just craps in this movie all the time. You can kind of tell through her performance. I don't know if that is her not being interested in the source material or the role, or if that was direction. I kind of have to think with the way they do her hair and stuff and the way she holds herself, it kind of says to me like, hey, 2010, like Twilight's really big right now. Why don't you be Kristen Stewart? Well, do your hair like that, you can wear this type of shirt, and you can just be kind of checked out all the time. Kristen Stewart had vampires and werewolves and stuff going on, and it was always like nonplussed, like, yep, cool. And Rooney Mara is very much like that in this movie. She's like, oh, everyone around me's dying. Mom, why didn't you tell me? What is going on? Why are you lying to me? Oh, I guess I can't sleep because I'll die. What is it? And then her love interest or boyfriend, not boyfriend, but the guy that wants to be her boyfriend that she takes on Freddy with, he's like, I don't even know how to explain his look. I guess they're trying to cash in on like the emo phase at that time. It's just this weird alt sad boy kind of thing. He looks like he's ready to go to pieces at the drop of a hat. So weird to choose him for your leading man. And I'm not trying to crap on that guy. Maybe that was, again, just some weird vision from the director or producers. But whatever it is a poor decision. There are just so many poor decisions in this movie. Even the way it opens, when they're in the diner and you see Dean dealing with his dream situation, right away the cinematography hits you wrong. You're like, this doesn't look like a nightmare movie. This isn't it. What is this? What am I watching? What is this color palette? Why is everybody so freaking modeled up? Why is Kellen Lutz and Katie Cassidy? And what is happening? Because you watch the originals, I know it sounds crazy because Johnny Depp's in there, but that's a very young, very much a boy Johnny Depp. Everyone else, like Heather Langenkamp as Nancy, she's no Rooney Mara when it comes to acting. You've seen that in Rooney Mara's other performances, but you buy her so much more as Nancy. There's a realness to Tina in the original. There's a realness to everybody in that movie. And with this new one, there's not. You just have a bunch of like way too good looking people who really don't perform that well. And maybe that's the direction. Maybe that's on Samuel Baker. But then your actors that actually can act, like Connie Britton and Jackie Earle Haley, it's like, give me more of them. What are they doing? Give them something to work with. And Jackie Earle Haley, I feel bad for him. He's probably very maligned for this because people just, Freddy is so important to people. Robert Englund is one of the most beloved men in horror, so he is stepping into some big shoes. He's probably going to catch a rash of crap no matter what. But he does a good job. He does some really interesting things with this character, and a lot of the issues people have, there's nothing he could have done about it. Like, for example, his design. The original Freddy, you could tell, okay, he's been burned or whatever. That's not exactly what a burn victim looks like, but it made him iconic. He still had hard edges. He had a real structure to his face, something that you could latch onto and recognize. He had features. This Freddy doesn't. He's just like a structureless, slimy, he looks like a burn victim, but maybe too much so. The realism doesn't serve them here because if that was the original look, this character would not have caught on. You can't sell that mask in a Halloween store. It just doesn't, because it doesn't look like anything. It looks like a candle that's just been in the microwave or something. It doesn't work. And then this whole was Freddy a child rapist? Or was he a child killer? Or wasn't he? Are the parents in the wrong? Did they get the wrong man? Why did you do that with this story? Who was asking for that? We know where it's going. Why are you trying to make us feel bad for a child murdering rapist? We want him to be the big bad. That's what he has been for so many other movies. That's built in. Why are you going down this avenue when we all know at some point you're going to U-turn and take us back down the road that we wanted to be on to begin with? That's what I'm saying. There's so many questionable decisions. Everything in this movie is so poorly executed. It's not made with much care or soul. This movie is just really, really lacking. It's not scary. It's just such a shame because obviously, like I said, what Robert Englund did, what Wes Craven did with this Freddy Krueger character, what this franchise is, that first movie, that is one of my top 5 favorite horror movies of all time. I think if you want to get somebody into horror, that is a movie you show them. Whether it be Tina's death or Tina showing up in the school in the bag, or the caterpillar centipede thing coming out of her mouth, the bathtub scene, the Johnny Depp blood bed. That's what I'm saying. Like the oatmeal steps. That movie just is chock full of so many amazing scenes that are just groundbreaking and did so much for horror, did so much for Wes Craven's career, did so much for Robert Englund's career. This movie, it doesn't have any of that. Even if it had just tried to match the level of that original, If it had just been real practical effects, I think it would have fared that much better. But instead they're like, no, let's use like really expensive computer effects, or let's just overblow stuff and then we'll move on real quick. We'll do a lot of hard edits. We'll put this in darkness so you don't see it, but it'll seem big. It doesn't. That's not what you need. I really think, even if I was making a horror movie, I think I'd make a better horror movie if you're like, hey man, sorry, all we could get you was $50,000. Make the most of it. I think that would challenge me to be inventive and creative, and I would make a much better movie than if like, hey man, endless budget, you know? I know you haven't made a lot of movies, but here's $100 million, go make a movie. Not that this movie is made for $100 million, but it was made for way more than the original, and in the end, you don't get a better product. You know, those bootstraps, those limitations, they really forced Wes Craven and co. to get real inventive, and those creative juices flowed, and the result was one of the best horror movies of all time, and this movie is a shell of that. This movie is a cash grab. This movie sucks. There, I said it. Don't watch this movie. Don't show other people this movie, especially if they haven't seen the original. Don't do that to anybody. Don't make this the forebear. Don't do that. So that being said, whew, nice to get that off my chest. Like I said, please don't watch it. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That way you can catch all the other videos coming. We still have the Rob Zombie Halloween and Rob Zombie Halloween 2 coming very soon. And be sure to let me know, of all these reboots, you know, the Michael, Freddy, and Jason, which one was your favorite? But other than that, you guys have a fantastic day. I am Nate from Natemare Flix saying that's a wrap.